Hello, everybody. It is Saturday, the 3rd of January, and I want to talk about this idea of humanity as a whole going to a higher level of consciousness, to a higher level of awareness, and it actually means also a higher level of knowledge and of understanding. And I want to show you that the first step we need to take is to get people out of idol worship. Because every religion, let me just say this again, every religion is idol worship. It's a very low level of understanding. It's not that it doesn't contain some truth, it always does. It just does not contain the fullness of the understanding, which is the fullness of the understanding must be in more people of what it is we are and what it is we're in. Because for idol worship, for religion, for that low level of understanding to be allowed to exist in this world, it is a very, very dangerous thing. Ignorance is dangerous. Ignorance can be used, can be led. Ignorance can become an army that will go up against wherever it is pointed, it will do and be destructive. So what is this higher level of understanding? Well, first of all, again, during the time of the mystery schools and when they worshipped many gods, mostly in the form of the planets, the higher understanding was an understanding of energy and vibration, that the music of the spheres, the energy that is coming from the planets and how it affects everything on Earth. Energy impacts on other energy and it will create a change. That was the highest understanding, that those that were truly in the higher knowledge, they understood that. And the lowest level of understanding was the worship of the planets as gods and praying to them instead of actually knowing what the energy was, when it would come, what it would create, and how to not influence it, but let it aid you. You know, if you know the energy comes and it is helpful for certain tasks, then you can go with it. And you can consciously let that energy aid you. And that's what they did. I think that's what they're still doing on the highest level of knowledge. But the masses are still idol worshipping in churches, temples, and mosques. So, then the next step is in the temple, on that level of ignorance, where the planet becomes a person, a god. And then you start making stories about the interaction of the gods with each other, you know. And here comes those stories. How much or to what extent are they still based on the energetic reality? Here's the thing. Because the planets do not only interact with us, but they interact with one another. And energy changes. Yeah? So, yeah, you could say, yeah, they are interacting with one another. They are interacting with us. But the stories of the gods that are made up in religion, on the level of religion, how far are they still tied to any kind of energetic reality, or at what point are we veering off into the realm of fairy tales, imagination, no longer based on reality, on energetic reality? and then you can make up anything. And again, the people will follow the God. That is a level of ignorance. And then you can say God says this, God says that, and people will follow. They're following idols, detached from a higher knowledge of what that is they're actually talking about. But as I said, during the mystery schools, that level of ignorance was allowed. Yeah? And again, maybe from the idea of strong meat for man and milk for the babes. Religion is the milk for the babes. And to be fair, during the time of the mystery schools, if somebody woke up in the temple saying, what the hell, this can't be it, this can't be right, there must be something else, during that time that person would have had somewhere to go. Yeah? There were the mystery schools of inquiry, where he could go further into a higher knowledge, into a higher understanding. And those doors were open to them. And there was choice. I mean, there was tons of choice. There were many different ways of inquiry, different pathways, different mystery schools. Whereas, of course, later on in Christianity, if somebody woke up in the church and says this can't be right, and then God forbid went out there and got a higher knowledge or an epiphany or something, and God went out and actually told that to somebody, well, they got burned at the stake. So the pathway into higher inquiries, the door was closed to most. I mean, really the only ones that got in were the ones that toed the line. There was only one thought path, yeah, that is allowed. And if you're not on that path, in the one school, you got burned at the stake. So that's what happened later on. Still, I really think it is the level of complete ignorance that is the problem. It's a dangerous, dangerous beast. And for humanity to change, for this world to change as a whole, we must all be on a higher level of understanding, and I think that can be done because it's not that far out. And if it were taught to the children, again, bring the children onto me, taught to the children, that is the reality that they grow up in from the start. Only the basics, only a basic understanding from where to go, that is higher than the idol worship in church. And again, the one first step and the easiest step to do is not to think about the things we're talking about as beings. And here again, we come to this point where people proclaim, oh, I have a new knowledge, yeah? I'm on a higher level of understanding. I now have got the Gnostic knowledge, yeah? There is this being called Yaldabaoth that is an evil creator god, and it came out of the goddess Sophia, and it then created the world. Yaldabaoth, that is. You are still on the level of idol worship. Yeah, I've read books where this spoke not in his image, which was a very good book. Yeah, in many respects it was. There was a lot of historical information in there that was really helpful. But if the author of the book talks about Sophia as a goddess in the Pleroma, no, sorry. Again, on the material, on the historical level, great, quite good. On the spiritual level, zilch, nothing, nada. Still caught in the idol worship of seeing Sophia as a goddess, as a being. So, if you were to read this correctly, on a higher level of understanding, probably not the highest level of understanding, but a higher level of understanding, as you know that Sophia is wisdom. It's not a person, it's wisdom. And it is something that is within you, that might be all around you to certain degrees. Yeah, it is not just one person, it's everywhere. So we're talking about wisdom, and then we're talking about a thought that came out of wisdom and got separated from wisdom, Yaldabaoth. Again, Yaldabaoth is not a being, it is a thought in the being. And the thought is that got disconnected from wisdom was, hold on, well, I am the only, here. He is wicked in the mindlessness within him. Again, some of the Gnostics saw him as evil, others just saw him as ignorant, you know. But this is actually the Nag Hammadi, the secret book of John. He is wicked in the mindlessness within him. He said, I am God, and there is no other God beside me, since he did not know from where his own thanks has come. We're not talking about a being, we're talking about the thought. That is the higher level of understanding, and there you go into the spiritual. Thought is not a solid object, but thought creates outcomes in the solid world. So Yaldabaoth is the thought of, I am the only one. I am the only creator. And it came out of wisdom, it got separated. It was a part of wisdom, a part of, before it got separated. Because to an extent, we are the creators of our own destiny, of our own life, through, again, our thoughts, how we view ourselves. That is partly true, but we are in a web of lots of other consciousnesses, so no, we're not the only ones. And it is only in the influence, in the energies of the whole, the flow of the energies of the whole, we are a part of that. The same as we are a part of the flow of the energy of the planets, the flow of the energy here in this world, of the different levels of the vegetative, the animal, we giving to one another. So it is it is part truth. It is part truth. It is not the whole truth. Again, the whole truth, the part truth got separated from the whole truth and then proclaimed itself to be the only one. Christianity, again, was separated from all the other thoughts and then proclaimed itself to be the only one. It is a pattern that is reoccurring all the time. But we must see it detached from the person itself. But the higher pattern, the thought, the word, the desire, the intention, all of those things are spiritual. So no, Yaldabaoth is not, and if you understand that Yaldabaoth is not just one person, one creator God somewhere in the astral zone and then go and fight him. If you know it is a thought, a perception, then you can see that perception within yourself. To what amount is it there? Again, and you can see others where that perception has become the fullness. Again, the part truth has become the fullness, has become the only truth. And then you don't have to go out of this world to know it and to see it. It's all around you. And those that are the fullness of the truth, of that one thought, we might call them megalomaniacs. They are the image of that thought. They are the image of Yaldabaoth. It's not just one thing. There is a higher understanding. Yeah, and as long as you think Yaldabaoth is a person, you are idol worshipping. you are on the level of religion, thinking you're actually talking about one being or group of beings. The higher understanding is it's within you, it's all around you. See it in others, see it in yourself. Again, it is not just one thing, shouldn't be just one thing. To what amount is it there, and then what does it create? What outcome does it create in this world? That can be taught to children. It is not out of this world, it's not all the way up there. You can say that in very simple words. And then the understanding of all would go to a higher level, which is what needs to happen, because the idol worshippers are dangerous. Another example, and here's the Christian example of this. Now, I haven't found the verse, I don't know exactly where in the Bible it is, but somewhere in Matthew, I think. This passage where Jesus said, "Who do the people think I am?" And then comes, well, you are reincarnation of, I don't know, one of the prophets, something like that. And he says to Simon, "Who do you think I am?" And Simon says, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Now, and Jesus says, "Thou art Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." Again, the material level, Peter is the rock. Yeah, and the church is built on the rock. Again, idol worship. You're looking at the man. You're looking at the material things that are there. Simon, Jesus, you're only looking at the material. You're not seeing the spiritual. You're not seeing the higher level. Well, first of all, thou art Peter. Simon was given a title, which is in the mystery schools, and even now, it is customary. Because Jesus said, "Flesh and blood did not tell you this." Sorry, I should have said that. Flesh and blood did not tell you that, but my Father who's in heaven. So to say, that thought came not from this realm, but from a different realm. So Peter had just a spiritual insight, had received a spiritual message, and that was recognized by him being given a title. That was customary. It still is customary. You are Peter. He is now known as Simon Peter, Simon the Rock, or known as the Rock. That is a title that he was given. I said it was customary. It still is. At least I know it in the Kabbalah. There was a rabbi, Yehuda Ashlang, who only died in 1954, who was given a title, the Baal HaSulam. So that custom is still in this world, even now. I mean, 1954, that is still within the lifetime of many of us. So that, again, there's a historical thing that you need to understand what actually happened there. The historical fact that in the mystery schools, titles are being given to people with special insight. So that's the first thing. Simon was given the title of Peter, the Rock. But then to say, "On this rock I will build my church." The rock is the word. Again, it is the Spirit that creates. It is the word that creates. It is the word that was the rock on which the church is built. And the word is, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And that is the rock on which the church is built. That is the one thing you cannot question. Yeah? When you might meet some Christians that you can discuss some things with, there's some Christians you can discuss nothing with. Yeah, you say something and they will spew our doctrine, and they will not veer from what's been planted into their heads. But some Christians you can discuss a couple of things with, but you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. No. That is the foundation. That is the unmovable rock. That is what needs to be believed. And here's what creates the outcome, the word and the belief on the word. So, and again, those that follow Jesus as the man, they are idol worshipping. They do not see the spiritual truth that is contained within the man, the words that he spoke, the knowledge that he brought. That would be the higher level. They don't see that, they just follow the man. Jesus himself said, follow no man. But they do. And I say it is idol worship. Yeah, just because the image is being made out of flesh and blood and it can move, it's still an image. It's still an image. And you're still idol worshipping. You're still on a very low level of understanding. And that is religion. So that is what we need to get out of. Again, in the mystery schools, they fought battles. And I think they fought very heated battles at a time. But it was a battle in heaven. On the level of words, of knowledge, of understanding, higher understanding, away from the knowledge of the physical object, but the spirit, the energy within the object. They were fighting battles in heaven on that level. Yeah, they were not talking about beings, but what is within the being, the higher energy, the higher knowledge of what is moving the being. And that is the knowledge, that the level that we all must get to out of the fairy tales that may already be completely detached from the knowledge that it came from in the first place. But these characters have kind of developed a life of their own, detached from the first truth, the first understanding that they came from. We must get out of that. And as I said, as long as people say, well, I've come to a higher level of understanding, and then they are talking about goddesses and gods and beings in the other realm, no, you have not woken up to anything. You have discovered a new story, but you're still on the level of story. You haven't gone further than the level of story. And here's the last thing I want to say. As I said, you can see it within you and all around you. That is what Jesus said. That is the higher level of knowledge. That which moves the physical, is the higher level of knowledge, not just knowing the physical itself. And if you now come to saying, are there others out there, like reptilians? Okay, let's take reptilians. If everything is created by the all, that is to say by the same set of energies, and the way that energies impact each other, those are laws. They will not change. One specific energy will always interact with another specific energy in the same way. The outcome will not change. So if you know the energies, if you know what they do, how they interact with each other, you will know the outcome, because the outcome will not change. So, yeah, if everything is created from the same field, then the energy within the reptilians will be the same as us. We can recognize energies in them, and what those energies create will still be the same. It doesn't matter what form the energies are in, what form they have taken, the outcome will be the same. And that if everything is created from the all, it will be the same in every species. It will not change just because the picture changes. The energy inside itself is the same, and it will do what it do. I am what I am. I create what I create. I am what I am on an energetic level, and what my energy creates will always be the same. Doesn't matter if the energy comes out of a human being or out of a reptilian. And again, there again would be a higher level of understanding what is going on out of the image, out of the material. The material is the outcome. It is not detached from what it is that is creating it. Yeah, the material does not have a life of its own. It is created by the spiritual. But again, you know the spiritual laws. Then it doesn't matter what form is in front of you. If you know the energy inside of it, you know what it will do. I mean, the basic level of that can be taught to children. What exact energies, what we know, and I would say there is a very high knowledge even in this world now. I think the knowledge of the ancients has not gone away. That they're squirreled away, they're sat underneath the Vatican, and they're still using it. Yeah, if you have a bloody pine cone sitting in front of the Vatican, you know what's in the Vatican. There's a knowledge there that is still being used, whilst the masses are on the level of ignorance, idol worshipping. But I said that's what we need to get out of. As long as that level of ignorance, of idol worship, is still in the masses can be moved by those that have the higher knowledge. And the masses will be moved not knowing what it is they're doing. Yeah? You have a few that understand, and you have a massive, unconscious, ignorant beast. And that is a very, very dangerous situation to be in. And we are destroying each other on the level of ignorance, being led by those that have the higher knowledge, and we don't know what it is we're doing. I mean, we are their tools. We are their pawns. And we're going from one slavery into another, following men, following an image, thinking the man will be the savior, and we can't see any further than that. We have no understanding any further than that. Again, taught to us by religion. We are sealed in that level of understanding. It's the last thing I want to say, and that is what's happening in Iran today. I was looking at it this morning. And I watched this channel, going, oh, they're going into democracy and into freedom. No, they're not. They're going into a different form of slavery. And that is what we will do over and over and over again. That's what we've always done. Choose the form of your ruler. That's what they're doing. And bringing back the Shah, they will be ruled over by a different system. But they will still be ruled over. The Ayatollahs told them now what to think and what it is they are and what it is they're in and what they should be doing. And in the new system, the Shah will tell them that. And they will idol worship and they will follow. And then you think, go to the level of desire, of intention, of who is behind it, what intention is behind the whole thing. They can't even think that far. All they can see is the man. Oh, and the man will set us free. The man will save us. Idol worship. And they will go from one slavery into the next. And humanity has done that endlessly. Round and round in circles. Following one or the other. Believing, not understanding, trusting, doing as we're told. Idol worship. And that is absolutely what we need to get out of. For the individual to be able to discern on the level of thought, on the level of word, what will the word create in this world, what will the outcome of actions be, to see desires, to see intentions behind everything. Again, we're saying there's something behind, our politicians, behind our whatever. We are looking for people. We're looking for people that we may not find if they're well enough hidden. We do not have to find the people. We have to see the intention and what it works. The people, once we see intention, the people themselves are completely irrelevant. So, this is a higher understanding that we all must get to, where humanity as a whole is elevated to a higher understanding, and it can be done. It is not that far out. It can be understood by everybody because it is in everybody. It can be understood because it is in everything that is around you. You can see it. You can see the spiritual level by what it works. We can all see it. And then just to know that the material is maybe the lowest level of understanding, but it is still truth. All of those things must be understood by all, and then we will go to a higher level of knowledge, which will lead to a higher level of consciousness, hopefully, if we use the knowledge correctly. But that is where we must go to. We must get out of the temple, out of the church, out of the mosque, out of any place of worship where we worship idols, where we worship beings, to a level of understanding of energy and vibration. And then the world will change. Right now, the world is created by the few that do understand, and the idol worshippers that can be led. And that must change. Anyway, here, I leave it at that for today, and I talk to you again soon. Bye.